Okay, so I found my mistake and I thought I would try to give you a little tutorial that may help you in finding mistakes in the future. So the first thing I did was I went all the way around all my rows or all my stitches just to see if I just made it within the row, but everything was good. And so I knew that I must have made it further back. So I started just one by one looking at each line of stitches and making sure that it lined up. So I don't know, hopefully you can see. All right, so you just kind of trace back and just have to really kind of have a sharp eye looking for it. And then I got to this row and I was like, bingo. And I'm kind of exaggerating the hole. You wouldn't necessarily see that big hole, but what I did see was I traced down this line of stitches and it looked good, but then I saw that something looked crazy over here and I was like, uh-oh. So then I looked down the next row of stitches and that's where you can see that this row doesn't actually connect to a row. So I had picked up a loop somewhere here and made that row. So now I don't know if this is going to be too advanced for you, but I'll show you anyway, just so you can kind of see how it does work to correct, and maybe you can, just save back for future reference. So these actually double pointed needles come really in handy when you're trying to fix mistakes too, that and crochet hooks. But so yeah, I'm just kind of trying to isolate these lines where the mistake is. And what I'm going to do is take those two stitches off the needle and I'm just going to pull them out. Until I get back to that spot where the mistake was made. Ta-da! Alright, that one's a little stuck. I might have to do a little ripping because it's got some fibers wrapped around one of the stitches, but that's not a big deal. It's just a matter of loosening that up. Okay, so ta-da! And we get back to where it was just one thing. Okay, so now I'm going to take a crochet hook, and it's a little bit if you have a if you make a mistake on your purl stitches, it's a little different. It's kind of backwards, but I'm not going to go into that right now. I'll just do it with the knit stitches. So you just take a crochet hook and grab the row above, and then you have a new stitch for that row, and then grab the row above and you have a new stitch, and then you grab the row above. And when you have a whole bunch of rows like this, the main thing is to make sure you're grabbing the right one because they can overlap. And I've done that before. I've been like, oh crap, I just grabbed 3 rows ahead and now I'm all tangled up. So just carefully, whoops, carefully, like I just didn't do. I'm trying to, this is actually way easier than I'm making it look, but I'm trying to kind of do it so that you can see what I'm doing. Make sure I have the right row of yarn. See how that one's kind of doubled up? I could have very easily chosen the wrong one without. And it's going to look, really loose and weird here, but once you start knitting it all back together, you can redistribute the yarn a little bit as you get going, and that will fix that. And then after the thing is, even if you're still noticing a little looseness, you can, after it's washed or blocked or whatever, that usually takes care of any weird distribution. So there, I just took out my extra stitch, and it looks, so you can see it looks really messy right now, but as I get going, it will get right back into shape. Oh, and then you put your stitch back on the needle, making sure that your front and back loops are the same directions as the other one. So the front loop is pointing to my right, the back loop is pointing to my left. This one, the same thing. The front of the loop is pointing to my right, the back of the loop is pointing to my left.